Jeff, are you awake for this podcast?
Yeah,
He's
why?
bored because we're talking about bullshit.
Flick Network. We watch movies. We talk movies. Your online movie friends. The Flick Network.
Welcome to the Flick Network, episode something. I'm Dave. Joining me,
Wow.
as they do every week, is electrical engineer by day, Jeff Daly by night. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how's
Hey.
it going?
Oh! I watched a 3-hour movie that I have feelings about. That's about it, though.
Yeah.
I have only feelings. Also joining us, who also probably has feelings about this movie, is Shy, not so shy. Hi, Shy.
Hi, Dave.
I
do indeed have feelings.
I gotta get an intro for you because it's an intro that makes no sense. It's Shy, not so shy. Shy, hi, Shy. like what is
Just
that?
a bunch of shies.
It's great.
Yeah, but anybody who's like, who is this person? What's her name?
Shy,
Shy.
not so shy.
Yeah. Shy, not so shy. Shy, hi, Shy. Guys, we watched a movie this week, as we do every single week. We take our bucket list movie poster. I'll hang it up, I swear, someday, and I'll start scratching them off someday.
Oh, God.
You'll never scratch him off, Dave.
The Deer Hunter was this week's movie,
Yeah,
and
3 hours long.
oh yeah, and you texted us 3 hours and 15 minutes ago. Did anybody watch this movie?
I was just making sure everybody else watched it.
Oh.
Listen, Dave, I'm going to be honest. Shy's got a confession. Okay. So, when Dave sent that message, I had not watched the movie.
See, that's why I sent the message.
That's why I sent the message as well. That's why I texted. I'm like, I
It's
hope.
like they knew.
I'm like, I hope Jeff has thoughts.
and and so when you saw that message, you're like, I have to
I
watch
was-
this now.
Yeah, well, because I had rented it, right? Because I couldn't find it anywhere. Even my website didn't have it. So I was like, okay. So I rented it beforehand, and I'd watched like maybe 10 minutes.
Oh,
of
no,
it.
did
Don't
you-
know why.
Did you have to rent it again?
No,
Oh.
no, it was still, it was earlier this week. It was like Thursday and Friday.
Oh, do you get a week? Is that the
I
rental?
think I got 4 days or something. I don't know how. I don't remember.
Okay, I thought
But
rentals
anyway.
were 24 hours. That's why.
I have no idea.
I
But
don't either.
anyway, so I put it on when you sent that message. Not exactly when you sent it because I was in the middle of something, but like as soon as I could, right? So obviously didn't finish the movie.
Oh no! Wait.
I didn't finish the
How
movie.
far did you get?
2 hours.
Oh, so you have like an hour left.
You have like
You
the
You're
entire.
two-
And
The
you know
entire-
why?
You have the
Okay,
entire
this
movie
is my
left.
first-
you just got past the wedding scene then. No, just kidding.
joke. Okay, so this is my issue is I would have been done with the movie if I had just skipped the wedding.
I almost texted, "Skip the wedding."
Listen, that is my first complaint with this movie, okay? The wedding was an entire hour.
Yep, sure
It was
is.
like 54 minutes or some shit like that.
And it's not. It's. You're almost exactly right. I think it's 54 minutes. It is non-consequential for the plot of this movie.
You learn nothing.
You learn.
No.
It's not important. It's literally the fact that they all got married is important. You could have
No,
told.
only one got married.
I'm pretty sure.
Like Steven got married. Nick proposed to the other girl
Yeah,
at
one
the
got
wedding,
engaged and one got married.
and the other one did not.
The other one was just there.
Okay, but you could
You
have.
see, I know the length that made it seem like 3 people got married,
Damn.
but it was really one wedding.
You could.
Holy shit,
You
dude.
could have told me this 1
Oh.
hour chunk of the movie in less than 10 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
And
We
I
could have met everybody, done like the cute little, oh, look at these people, they're friends and they're cool, done some banter, so that we understand their relationship, and then like introduce us to the girls, and then do the fucking wedding and the proposal and be done. That's it. It would have taken like 5 minutes.
They did like a whole hour of character development,
Like
where the whole
dancing
hour,
and
everybody in the movie was drunk.
This is literally
Everybody was drunk the first
I'm
half.
so angry. If I had skipped it, I would have finished this movie.
was the intention here, filmmakers, that I had to feel as bored as I do at real weddings? Was that the goal?
Is that the plan?
I
Is
like
that how
the
it works?
first wedding song. They played the entire song. It's in its entirety.
Oh my god!
It looks like they just took like a wedding video and just.
They did so. They played like the entire choir, which was pitchy, by the way, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm a choir director. And
Call it out.
They played it for like so long. They played the entire piece basically, and then later when they're all drunk and singing karaoke and stuff, somebody plays piano, and that lasts like it's an entire sonata that we're all just sitting here listening to.
And it's
Like,
not
you put on-
it's not a good sonata. It's not. It's just it's not. It's not enjoyable. It's not.
But that's not even the point. The point is it's like 4 minutes of piano.
Well, there's plenty of sitting in the room while the scores play of the same
You know what the best part of the wedding is?
when it ends.
No. Yeah, well, you're right. But the craziest part is they felt the need to put the whole wedding in there. I felt like I just attended a wedding. And then when they finally go to war, it skips like 4 years in the future.
Oh yeah. What? And it's abrupt. It's
abrupt.
I went to college for video editing, and I know that you do this sometimes intentionally, but it is wildly abrupt for no reason.
The wedding was not abrupt.
Okay, but so they go on their. My favorite scene, and I know I skipped a fucking hour of the movie, but my favorite scene that I got to see was the whole bit with them on their way to that deer trip, and like when they were like joking around together and stuff. Like that was cool.
Because that's the only part of the beginning of the movie that tells me anything about who these people are. That's
Exactly.
Did you pick up that the groom or the bride of the wedding? I forget her name. Not Julie. Julie was the other one. Or it wasn't Julie. It was either Julie or Linda, right?
I barely remember any of their names. I remember Steve.
But she was pregnant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
By somebody else.
Right.
Okay. I hope you guys picked up on that.
Yeah.
It was not Steven's child.
Yeah.
Right. No, it was not.
But anyway, like the whole time I was watching this first part of the movie where they're in Michigan, which like that's like exactly how I picture Michigan going on always. Is that where are the cops that these people are just constantly driving around drunk?
Dude, they get out of the car and they're like 36 beers. Have you ever like that?
They just spray beer everywhere they go. They're hanging out of the seat,
I'm not
spraying beer with a deer strapped to the hood of their car. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? They're drunk the entire first half of the movie.
I don't think I've ever actually been as drunk as they were. Like I don't like honest to God, like
how are you drunk for like 48 hours?
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's coming from the guy who does a beer review almost every Friday where we get online and drink with our friends. Okay? Like
okay, so speaking of the transition between deer hunting and war, which was as abrupt as it sounds.
It is.
The funniest thing is while that scene was happening, I was talking to Joe about how long it was, like all the scenery of them like climbing and like, oh look, a deer, and then like all the beautiful panoramic shots that nobody asked for. It was lasting so long, and then in the middle of it, I was complaining to Joe about how long it was, and then the reason I was complaining is because I thought it was going to end, and then it just picked back up again and lasted another 10 minutes. and then it was war.
And then
That was
No, that
basically how
wasn't.
that
That
went for
wasn't
me.
even the. There were more deer scenes.
No, yeah, I know. It was like compiling them.
No, at the end of the movie that you probably didn't
Oh
see.
God, there are. Is it another like 15 minutes of scenery and mountains and deer?
Except here's the problem with the end deer scenes, Jeff. Those ones are good.
Yeah.
Because at that
I will say, the craziest things like war movies do is they're just so dry. I couldn't believe that for a straight 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, literally was them just driving off without the one guy and then just driving back to and then just driving out. It was like 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, just this scene, and I was like, what did this scene contribute?
This is my favorite thing is we all were like, all right, guys, we'll start a podcast. We'll talk about movies. And then we come in here and we're just like, what the hell?
Okay. So while that was happening, right, the first time they left him and then came back, I was like, oh, haha, that's funny. And then they did it again, and I was like, wait, so we're going to actually wait for the car to drive all the way away and come back again? Like, I was shocked.
It's weird. It's weird because the movies from the 70s, okay? And like it's like they skipped in early movies, right? We were very like new to this and they were doing stage plays as movies. Okay? And even the next movie we're going to watch is going to feel that way at times. But it's definitely in that cusp of like transition to like understanding the difference between a play and a movie. Versus like 12 Angry Men could have been on stage and it really wouldn't have changed anything about the whole movie. What's weird here is it's like they figured out how to make movies and then they jumped again and they're like, how can we drag this out to be more realistic? We'll show everything to the point where you're so bored. Like, I don't know what happened here. I went into this movie thinking I'm gonna like it because it's set in that time period. We talked about this last week. It's the history of like that time period in the United States. And I feel like I got none of that except for like the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. I felt like all I grasped from that whole movie is the Vietnamese people are obsessed with Russian roulette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is that?
You didn't even get to the rest of it, Shai.
I know. I saw one incident of it, and I was like, "Why are we doing this?"
And it went on and on and on for so. It was like we went from the longest wedding video you've ever watched that was not good to the longest Russian roulette video you've ever watched, and it was horrifying and terrible. To like then after that, it's like the drama that I kind of gave a shit about.
Yeah.
Like that's it's like so it's a 3-hour-ish movie, and there are 45 minutes at the end where I felt like I gave a shit.
Where it's worth it.
Yeah, and like
well, we know the first hour is a waste.
If you're listening to this and you've never seen The Deer Hunter, I swear to God, you can skip the first 54 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, that's it. Skip it.
Mm-hmm.
It won't matter. Every context clue you got from the beginning, you'll figure it out in that last 45 minutes that you understand what happened.
But holy shit, I've never seen De Niro or Christopher Walken so young.
Yeah, that's also weird.
That was strange.
A young Christopher Walken before he even talked differently. Yeah, was very strange.
Super strange.
He won an Academy Award for that.
Yeah.
He won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for The Deer Hunter.
Just
clickety click.
All right.
Because I know Dave was gonna say it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
I
love loud keyboard.
I love Jeff's keyboard.
I love my keyboard, but you can't hear it because my mic is
not right next to it.
Christopher Walken achieved the withdrawn, hollow look of his character by consuming nothing but water, rice, and bananas. That is an
That doesn't
actual
seem
fact of
healthy.
this movie.
I feel like you would be extremely sick.
No.
Like, legitimately concerningly so.
What is that? Carbs, potassium, sugar?
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
Do you know
Hydration.
the scene where they're in the stuck in the river?
Mm-hmm.
Where they say, "Michael, there are rats in here, Michael."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was ad-libbed because the actor saw the rats and he's actually afraid of rats,
Oh,
Oh.
God.
That's really funny.
and they thought it was like really good, so they kept it in.
That is funny.
But anyway, I feel like this entire movie was a long, drawn-out movie, 3 hours long, that could have easily been a 2-hour long movie if you
Easily.
just cut out the.
Easily.
I feel like it could have been an hour and 45 from what you guys are saying.
I feel like that's about right. And even at an hour 45, it would feel like satisfying. Like there wouldn't be like I want more of this. I definitely didn't need more wedding. I definitely
Yeah.
didn't need. I understand the deer hunting. Like I understand it. I understand why that's the name of the movie. But like I didn't need more of it. I didn't need any more of it. I could have
It
used
was so long and drawn out and beautiful and cinematic, and it was like they had just discovered the cameras they were using, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta, we gotta get some serious nature shots, guys."
and
There's
I
a lot. There's a lot of woman beating.
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna point that out.
I'm not a fan.
There was so much of that. It was uncomfy.
Like most art, movies, as other movies and other kinds of art, are supposed to make you feel uncomfy
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, I know. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating fact.
I feel like the parts where I'm supposed to feel uncomfy in this movie, are those moments are the ones that I do is those moments. But the one where like I'm like supposed to feel uncomfy, that's what I said. Gets drawn out so long that I almost become desensitized to them playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Like it goes on and on and on, and I'm like, can we just get out of here? Like, how horrible does this have to be that you need to just keep showing me more of it? Like it doesn't escalate properly. Like A Clockwork Orange, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, is like A Clockwork Orange is the violence and things escalate in such a way that they continuously make me feel more uncomfortable versus these scenes go on so long and don't escalate enough that I ever feel any more uncomfortable. If anything, I feel more comfortable.
The initial feeling.
Like I'm in it. It freaks me out at first, and as it continues to go on for so long, I become less concerned.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a drawn-out movie from the opening credits. The opening crawl, where I felt like that took forever to
skip that.
to go on. It took like 5-10 minutes just listing out names.
Yeah, I did definitely skip that, actually.
Then the steel mill was there for a while.
Yet I still don't care about the steel mill. I don't. The other problem is I feel like I never cared about a lot of the side characters.
Yeah.
Like it becomes his mission basically to find these people after they come back. And like I care a little bit about some of them in specifics, but not enough to be like completely invested throughout the entire end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, that was fun.
I think it depicts what it got praised for is it depicted like a very realistic interpretation of like the war and how war can affect a community. So to introduce the community, it said this is the community. It introduced war and like this is how war has affected the whole community and the people in the war.
And I agree with that sentiment, Jeff, because of the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
like other than that, I wonder if the rest of it was only I feel like they were holding back at Russian roulette, right? I feel like they were holding back with a lot of the emotional weight of that wedding. Like, I feel like we saw the wedding and they showed us what the wedding would be like if you brought a photographer in there to take pictures of that wedding. But I feel like the opportunity of like the dramatic reason for why they're getting married, all these things like were lost on it.
Yeah.
And so like we can say it won awards in the 70s for being the most realistic representation of the war. It also came out 3 years after the war ended only, which is wild to think about
Yeah,
according
that
to
is crazy.
according to Google.
Wow.
And so I feel like in a world, like a modern world where we're more willing to not hold back, I think a lot of these points and the realism of this story could have been told better today than it was in this scenario where they're trying to make me uncomfortable, but they don't push it far enough, or they're drawn out so long that I lose it.
Mm.
You know, the crazy thing is with the Russian roulette,
Yes.
there's no basis in history that ever happened in Vietnam. It's just something they made up for the movie.
And it's basically the only thing that happens in Vietnam.
Yeah, most of everything that happened in Vietnam revolved around Russian.
In this movie specifically, yet
Apparently. Oh, I have no idea, right? But seeing the portrayal of, I guess, the Vietnamese people and like the way they portrayed, the way they acted and their language and everything feels icky. Like I feel like it's probably not very accurate.
Okay. We're gonna go places with this right now. This is
That's a very Americanized interpretation.
That's what I'm saying. Like it
yeah.
does not feel it feels gross.
It feels like we're getting only one side of the perspective of this story. And it's getting it told by us. Not
showing that I was being told by us that the Vietnamese there were animals and we were there to,
which is how the war felt. But I think in retrospect, and this is we're having a political debate about something that happened before any of us were born. I would like to establish that, right? But like, I think there had to be reasons for the things that they did on that side that we do not understand. And I think with a much more nuance and like modern, like glimpse at it, like I think maybe that portrayal is stereotypical and biased based on the people who were making the movie and telling the history from our side. And it doesn't mean that that's the realistic version of what was happening.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
like, not even necessarily what was happening, but like the way that Jeff kind of hit the nail on the head when they said like they portrayed as animals, like literally like grunting and like repeating noises after each other like cavemen.
Right.
And like that's not, there's no way that is an accurate portrayal of a type of people. Like
that's the story we were told. That's not the story that the Vietnamese told us. like that's the problem. Like and because this movie came out so close to the events, there were people who were making this movie still with open wounds. You know,
man.
like literally, like this isn't like they had time to reflect on it. Maybe God, that is such a rough point in history, as if the entirety American history isn't rough from our side.
I know.
like
yeah, if you think about it, all of American history is pretty rough.
Yeah, like basically like it's kind of like we're all really shitty if you look at it. And maybe the stories we told are maybe a little biased. Like maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, anyway.
But anyway, like
So what
I
did we love about this movie?
I
Yeah,
think what I loved about this movie is I feel like it did depict how war affects a community, and it shows, like, especially from a Vietnam point of view, like only the three possible outcomes that happened to American soldiers after the war.
yeah,
It's either you come back living, but not quite the same. You're always changed. You come back, you know, like
no matter what.
invalid or crippled or completely like in a mental institute and mentally not quite there and like in a wheelchair, or you come back dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It like
And those were all three of those like were all dark, like are all dark and not quite good, but that's what realistically happened in the Vietnam War when the Vietnamese soldiers came
Yeah.
back.
And then they treat you like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get no help from the government. Like you just cast aside and
Yeah.
expect to live your life again.
And they do a really good portrayal of this in the beginning before they leave and showing us the guy who had come back, right?
Yeah.
And all he's like, and I just quote this, he's just like, fuck it. Like, that's all he says. Like, just, it's, Shy, you do need to finish this movie.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'm
you're
going
getting
to
to the
because I
good
spent
parts.
money on it. So
you
don't worry.
you are right on the cusp of the good part of the movie, and the part that like, even though in no books do I recommend this movie, and do I under no circumstance do I think everybody needs to watch this movie, I think for my own personal experience, and I probably will never watch this movie again, the last 45 minutes of the movie made watching it worth it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Good.
that's where I'm at.
And maybe that's what they were going through the whole movie, is they had to build up what they were like before the movie to show them what they're like after the movie, like after the war.
Mhm.
Yeah, is it maybe just to portray how normal these people were before everything happened to them?
How drunk they always were.
I get to see
They
that.
were like the epitome of dude bros of their time.
I'll
They were,
tell
like,
you,
so-
it was just hard to watch because they were always so drunk the entire first part of the movie. I'm like Jesus Christ.
I want to hang out with them. I want to be in the beginning of the movie. I don't want to leave with them, which
Like,
I won't.
how rough must that car be? That car looked pristine at the beginning of the movie, and then within 45 minutes, that car had a lot of. I don't know how that car survived.
I can't.
And they're completely fine with treating their car that way.
Here's the question.
Okay, go.
Does it belong on our movie poster of 100 bucket list movies?
Shy, that's a question you can answer in an hour.
Yeah, I guess I technically am not allowed to answer that question yet.
You will answer it next week, though. I'm gonna make you. You gotta finish the movie. Jeff,
I view it. I don't know. It was just rough to watch. I view that it's a very accurate depiction of what war is like and affect a community, but it was just so drawn out to watch. I don't. What do you think, Dave?
I think
Whoa.
I know that was a weird sound. I want to. It's almost like I was a cat or something. I want to recut this movie.
That part.
I want to cut it down. I want to cut it down and see if I feel differently about it. I tried to look as I finished it. I tried to look at what the list of other movies that I felt like could have filled this slot. And like, I don't know that there's another movie that fills this specific slot in this poster.
What do you mean, like a long, drawn-out war movie? There's tons of those. What the fuck are you talking about? But like better ones than this one.
I will say I watched Full Metal Jacket. I had to in school, and as far as war movies go, I feel like Full Metal Jacket deserves to be on this list first before this movie.
But once again, that's another Stanley Kubrick movie, which there are already multiple of which on this poster.
Does it matter?
It's the category we're filling, no?
I mean, if you slide 3 Stanley Kubrick movies on this poster and then you add a 4th one.
Is Forrest Gump on this poster?
Unfortunately, yes.
Jeff doesn't like Forrest Gump?
What?
Oh,
It's okay. I don't view it as one of the greatest movies of all time.
this is going to be
Well,
fascinating.
no one said that, but I love Forrest Gump. And
Now,
then
I would view it as
restaurant chain back
some people say it's one of the greatest movies of all time. And I'd say it's a great movie. It's a good movie. It's long and drawn out, and it's not my type of movie. I've enjoyed. If we're gonna put a war movie on this list of movies you have to watch, I'd say Full Metal Jacket. It deserves to be a movie you need to watch
over
before
this one.
one.
I'm going to vote it doesn't belong on this poster, but I haven't replaced it. And Shai's going to watch the last 45 minutes of the movie. And
yeah, and then maybe I'll shoot a little clip
yeah,
that
I-
I can
I
tag
will
onto the end.
that would be great.
I will say that the last hour of the movie really does show everything that can happen to a community and the people in it.
That last 45 minutes is so
Is it great? Is it great?
it's so crucial to the enjoyment of this movie, and that's crazy to me. Honestly,
It's because it's really long. So
but I hate the first 2 hours. I stand by that opinion. So, guys, we're watching another movie next week because that's what we do. We watch 100 bucket list movies.
Shai, from your first 2 hours, what do you say about this movie?
from my first 2 hours, and as someone who doesn't like war movies, I would say there are other war movies that I would put in this slot. And so it's a no for me, fam. This is not on your bucket list.
Okay.
It's a no.
It's a no
Although
for
maybe
me,
you
fam.
could watch like a clip of the last 45 minutes because apparently it's good.
I'm glad we have somebody on this podcast who can say "fam" unironically, because like just the idea of
ironically,
like calling an audience my fam like just grosses me out on so many levels.
that made me uncomfortable. You're not allowed to say that.
You can say it. I can't.
So to bring this movie to you for The Deer Hunter.
Okay.
It won 5 Oscars.
Mm.
It won 5 Oscars when it was released.
As long as one of them isn't for the score, I'm good.
Please, Jeff.
It won Best Director, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound.
Okay.
Okay. None of those is score, so I'm okay with that.
Best Sound.
They made a big deal on the credits of the score. I hate the score. I hate it.
I really don't like the score at all.
Film.
I think
And the choir was pitchy.
I feel like I could have made the score. I feel like I've made better things in GarageBand.
It's not good. It is not. I'm still thinking about the choir, man. I'm like, y'all couldn't have been better. It's a fucking movie.
Important to your opinion of the choir, Shai.
Yes.
I need to know what you think of the very last scene of the movie.
Okay.
This is crucial. This is very crucial. Because I think it works. And I think it makes the choir. It doesn't make the choir sing better. I'm not even going to say that. It just it's grounded in the last scene of the movie, without spoiling it for Shai. Is grounded in a way that feels real instead of good, but like feels correct. And so I need to know what your thought is on the final scene, Jeff.
Got it.
I will say, so maybe if this, I view it as it's a groundbreaking movie.
Ground
You know,
baking.
it's ground baking. I baked it on the ground. It was the first film about Vietnam to reach a wide audience.
It's because it happened
So
3 years after the movie, after the war.
yeah,
It was the movie was being made the minute the war ended.
it was.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I view it's a movie that shows how the human capacity to endure and how war changes a community. I view it does it quite well. It's just very long and drawn out to do it.
All right, guys. Our next
Um,
movie might
I-
feel long and drawn out, but I actually like this movie a lot.
I wouldn't watch it again, and I view maybe it's a movie you can watch, but I just it definitely does not
Doesn't tick Jeff's
depict the
boxes.
Vietnam War that well, or how it really is.
I think.
Or at least the Vietnamese people.
I think. I'm not even. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. I'll save it.
And
It'll
we
come
still
up.
have another longer war movie to cover later in this list.
Oh, good. Yay.
I hope that one's good.
Apocalypse Now.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Which is the other problem, Jeff, because when I look at the list, I'm like, well, there are other war movies on here that could have filled this slot, so maybe we just need one less war movie. Next week, guys, we're watching a classic ancient film that you have seen referenced in every piece of media you've ever seen in your entire lives, Casablanca.
Casablanca. I'm
Yep.
excited. I'm excited because I've never seen this movie somehow.
This movie,
I don't know.
the time that I watched it, I felt indifferent as I watched it, and then got on the podcast, okay? Because this is an old Jeff and I movie. And I
Mhm.
think I
Mhm.
tore it apart from being boring, and then I changed my mind later.
Oh gosh.
So I think I'm gonna enjoy this movie more now than I did.
I am very, very, very excited because I know that it's like a very, very, very famous movie and, blah, blah, blah. But I never actually watched it. Who has it? Let's start there.
I own it on iTunes, so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no, I have it on my computer.
I'm going to just join your family sharing and then you can just share it with me and then I'll watch it.
Okay.
I don't want to buy it.
HBO Max.
Oh, they do?
on
Oh,
HBO
hallelujah.
Max.
Okay. I'll just
I'm
watch it.
100% sure it does not have AD.
Oh, yeah, there's no way.
You're gonna maybe need Joe, but not entirely. Like I think you'll be. It's one of those movies where it's like hit or miss, kind of.
I'll probably survive.
I think this movie was filmed and released before they recognized blind people as real human beings.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys know? Wow. I'm not going to bring that up. Never
I
mind.
just-
No.
I'm
Oh no.
sorry.
Oh no. Hold on. Now Shai started it. I have to know now. Did you know?
Oh, God. But this is like slightly dark, though.
I mean, we talked about how we think that the Vietnamese people portrayed in this movie are inappropriate, and how we think Americans suck. So I think we can go a little dark here.
Okay. So, like, did you know that back in the day during kind of during segregation, kind of not, like on the end of it where they're like, oh, we have to integrate, but then they never really integrate, So like when the schools were still segregated and all the black kids were in a different classroom than all the white kids, all the disabled kids were also segregated from everyone. So like every type of disability. So like the blind kids, deaf kids, kids on the spectrum, they were all crammed into one room with like two teachers, and they did everything separate from everyone else, just like the black kids did everything separate. So there was actually 3 groups in segregation and not 2, at least in the schools.
I was on the scale of not being entirely disabled to the point where I could do a lot of my own work, but there were plenty of kids on various scales of things who were shoved into completely separate classrooms that I also participated in. So
Yeah,
that was
but it
in
was just
that
it's
was
crazy
in
because it's not even just like separate. It's like separate classrooms, separate. You eat somewhere separate. You play somewhere separate. You are
Yeah.
completely segregated from everyone else, just like the black kids were. And I did not know that.
it's, basically what
Pretty
you
crazy.
learned today, if you've listened to today's podcast, is that Deer Hunter is too long and drawn out, and America sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two lessons to take away from this podcast. If I don't know what else to tell you.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's it. That was the whole thing.
That's it. Sums it up.
Jeff, Casablanca. Thoughts on Casablanca?
I'm not looking forward to watching it again.
White House.
Al.
Wait, someone read the synopsis in case anyone knows.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Or
Jeff.
doesn't know.
It's a movie. let me get the
just
synopsis
look up.
up.
Just read the. Yeah. Just
Rick Blaine, who owns a nightclub in Casablanca, discovers his old flame, Ilsa, is in town with her husband, Victor Laszlo. Laszlo is a famed rebel, and with Germans on his tail, Ilsa knows Rick can help him get out of the country.
Play it, Sam. Play it, Sam.
Sounds fun.
It's filmed in 1942.
Mm.
It stars Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey.
Well,
I
anyway,
never liked that name.
for everyone here, this is the Flick Network. We watch a new bucket list movie every single week. That's what we do. Don't worry, fam. You got to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and tell us down below what movie you're excited for us to watch, or leave suggestions. Maybe we'll consider talking about them. I broke shy by saying, fam, hit the like button. Of course, I'm Dave. You can follow me at Tell You Dave. You can follow Jeff at Jeffrey Daily or at a big F and Jeff on TikTok. And you can follow Shy at Not So Shy with an X. Shy is spelled with an X. It's really cool. She's like the epitome of 90s kids, except she's
And
not really
I
a
wanted to
90s
let
kid.
you know where the X is in her name.
Yeah, it's not SX8Y or something like that.
You just said Shy with an X in her name, like everybody knows exactly where that X is.
I do the same thing. I always say Shy with an X, and then they're like, "What?" And then I'm like, XHY, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
You're like,
Okay.
that's cool.
Oh God.
It's legit, Shy. It's legitimately cool, but it is confusing.
Yes, I agree.
As
I love my name, but it is confusing.
as every episode. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Flick Network.
The Flick Network. We watch movies. We talk movies. Your online movie friends. The Flick Network.
The Flick Network is a production of the Stack Network, LLC. Hi, Shy.
Hi.